Coming up on today's Philadelphia Eagles now, don't be Negadelphia. Be happy about that dominant Birds win over the Las Vegas Raiders in Week 15. I'm going to explain why that win was encouraging for Philadelphia. And the Eagles getting huge news in the NFC with what happened yesterday during the Week 15 slate. But finally, it's been a little while. It's a Victory Monday here on Eagles Now. If you loved having a stress-free Sunday watching the Eagles, and you love seeing the Birds dominate again, I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. I want at least 1,000 likes on today's show. And with that, let's talk some Birds. And a happy Victory Monday to everybody. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles Now. My name is Chase Sr. Hope you all had a great weekend and your weeks are off to an awesome start. Don't forget to subscribe and support the show by locking us in and hitting that subscribe button. We're only 277 people away from 140,000 subscribers. And what you get when you hit that sub button, a great YouTube community full of Eagles fans who watch this show all across the world. 3 million people have tuned into the program every month during the season, and you get elite, top-notch daily coverage of the EAGLES Eagles. All right, let's begin the show here. Eagles yesterday winning against the Raiders 31-0 at Lincoln Financial Field. They pitch a shutout, and they were dominant in all three phases of the game. This was a game where the Eagles needed to come out, they needed to dominate, they needed to get their confidence up. They needed a morale boost. And they needed this offense to finally find a groove, find a rhythm, establish an identity. The quarterback needed to play well. And the Eagles were able to accomplish all of that. On offense, they were excellent. They were very efficient. They were good in the red zone. They were good in between the 20s, situationally, especially on third downs. I liked a lot of what the Eagles did from a play calling standpoint, play design standpoint, being a balanced offense. I thought the Eagles were able to check those boxes as well. And how about what this Eagles defense did? And we'll expand on this all throughout the show. But rarely, if ever, in the year of 2025, where the rules are catered to offenses, do you see a quarterback go 15 of 25 for 64 yards and one pick? Kenny Pickett, that was his stat line yesterday going up against the team that he rooted on. The Eagles defense able to shut down Ashton Genty, only 9 carries for 35 yards. Brock Bowers, 6 catches for 28, couple of really nice reps for Cooper DeJean. And then on offense, I just loved how well-rounded and balanced the Eagles were. From Jalen Hurts going 12 of 15 for $175 and 3 touchdowns, to Saquon Barkley and Tank Bigsby running the ball successfully, to Dallas Goedert, DeVonta Smith, and A.J. Brown all making big plays in the pass game. This is such a talented offense, and when everybody is involved, that's when they're at their best, and that's when they're the most difficult offensive unit to stop, because that's what they're capable of being when you tax the defense and force them to cover every blade of grass. And let me start off with this. I have to address Negadelphia. I understand that we have high expectations for our football team in the city of brotherly love, but this win should be celebrated. I don't want to accept it's the Las Vegas Raiders, who cares. This is why Eagles fans should be pumped up about this victory. The Eagles ended a 3-game losing streak in which the offense looked horrible. The 2023 team, which collapsed, and this 2025 team, which has been on the verge of collapsing, would never have a performance like that, where they go out there and dominate from minute 1 to 60 and win 31-0. We just saw the worst stretch of the Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni era as far as offensive football goes. The pressure was on this football team. The offense had to produce, and they did. The Eagles continued to implement new wrinkles on offense, which they need to do to become the best offensive unit that they can become over the long haul, because they need to continue to adapt and evolve. The quarterback badly needed to play well and get out of this rut. He did. The offense desperately needed to have an efficient game. They did. The Eagles needed to clean up penalties and turnovers. They accomplished that. The Eagles needed to get back on track to being a balanced offense. They were. Kevin Patullo needed to show improvements as a play caller. He did. Nick Sirianni's influence has clearly led to improvements. We saw that carry over from the Chargers game to the Raiders game. We didn't want to see the Birds get scared away from the Chargers game and say, oh, Jalen Hurts turned it over 5 times. We can't continue to do these modern day things. They tapped into it more. The Eagles needed a confidence and morale boost. They got it. This is a win and a performance that can get the Eagles clicking and rolling as the playoffs approach when you want to be peaking and playing your best football. And look, this is the NFL. Upsets happen all the time. A majority of games are decided by 1 score or less. This game was never in doubt, and the Eagles were able to dominate it from the start to the end. And what's great is that this Eagles defense is Super Bowl caliber. They've showed us that time and time again. If the offense can catch up to the defense, you already have a really good special teams unit. This team is really dangerous. And I know some of the fan base will say, it's the Las Vegas Raiders. Look, the Rams are the number 1 seed in the NFC. They have losses this season as 10 and 8.5 point favorites. That goes to show you any given Sunday, anything can happen any given week. We see surprising results every single week across the NFL, which is why I put stock in the Eagles dominating and pummeling the Raiders 31-0. Because this is the NFL. It's not easy to do that. The other team gets paid as well. And let me also get to this. I loved what I saw from this Eagles offense against Las Vegas, and I think that they can continue to build off of this and implement these things. Jalen Hurts has been bad since the bye week. Against the Raiders, he was sharp, decisive, and efficient. I wanted to see Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts call more designed runs. I thought Hurts was dynamic with his legs on Sunday, in structure and out of structure. I wanted to see Hurts take snaps under center, get the play action pass game going, and also run it from under center. We saw under snap efficiency. I wanted to continue to see these smart, creative, modern-day concepts that we saw introduced against the Chargers. We saw those against the Raiders as well. And the pass game and the run game was balanced where everybody was contributing and everybody was involved. And you look at what Hurts did against Las Vegas, 12 of 15, 175 yards. 3 touchdowns, no picks. Should have been a 4th if Dallas Goedert caught that nice touch pass from Hurts, a quarterback rating of 154.9. Some of you might say, well, Hurts didn't throw it 30 times. That's not when the Eagles are at their best. They are at their best when they have a balanced offense. They ran the ball 23 times in the first half. Give me more of that. Dallas Goedert is having a career year. He has a great connection with Jalen Hurts. He has since Hurts came into the league in 2021. When he is a focal point of the passing game, this offense is better off. And he's also a really dynamic player. 6 catches, 7 targets, 70 yards, and 2 touchdowns. DeVonta Smith had that long ball from Hurts, the 46-yard rope downfield. Hurts has always been one of the best deep ball throwers in the NFL. He displayed that once again when the winds were howling and it was cold. And I know that A.J. Brown only had the 2 catches on 2 targets, but you got to continue to feed him to keep him happy. He actually has the most 100-yard receiving games this season with 5. He's on the verge once again of having another 1,000-yard season. He had 3 straight games of 100-plus yards. He's been eating. And then he caught a beautiful throw from Hurts for a touchdown. And then you have Saquon Barkley. Flashes showing once again in the run game for the 2nd consecutive week. For him, for this offensive line, but for this entire team. Saquon, 22 carries, 78 yards, 3.5 yards per carry, 1 rushing touchdown. I know the yards per carry is low, but the point here is I thought he was close to breaking a couple of runs, and he had some nice runs. Then you sprinkle in more of Tank Bigsby. I need to see more of Tank Bigsby. He gives this team an edge. He gives this team physicality. He is a bull in a china shop, running like a madman, really difficult to bring down. And when the offensive line is struggling, he will do the simple thing of being a north-south runner and taking what is there instead of going for the home run, which is kind of the game of Saquon. 17 carries for 57 yards for Tank, 3.4 yards per carry. I want to see the Eagles utilize him more from here on out. And this all goes into the Eagles finding their identity. I know a lot of the talk and a lot of the attention about this Eagles team has been on the offense. Rightfully so. They needed to play better. They needed a confidence boost. They got that against the Raiders. But how about this Eagles defense? They are Super Bowl caliber, and if this Eagles offense can improve and catch up, and that Raiders game, a right step in the good direction, this defense can help to carry the Eagles to back-to-back Lombardi trophies. Vic Fangio's unit was tremendous against the Raiders. And how about the whole body of work here? Vic Fangio has coached the Eagles defense for 35 games, including the playoffs. The defense has held the opponent to 1 or fewer touchdowns in 13 games. That's 37%. This is the 4th time that his defense has held the opponent to no offensive touchdowns. Wild chat stats right there. Defensive game balls going to Nakobe Dean. Shot out of a cannon. Once again, he has been tremendous since he's gotten more snaps. 2 TFLs. The read and diagnosing skills that he showed on that screen pass was great, and he continues to be awesome as a blitzer. Pass game, run game as a blitzer. He's just having a great year. He's going to get paid after this year. We'll see if the Eagles can retain him. Jalen Phillips, I thought, was very disruptive in collapsing the pocket, helping to generate pressure on Kenny Pickett. He had 2 pass breakups. Moro Ajomo continues to have a career year. He had a sack. Ladies and gentlemen, how about the OG, BG, Brandon Graham? He played 7 snaps yesterday. He had 2 sacks. Continues to give this team a lot of juice, rushing from defensive tackle without Jalen Carter. And then Nolan Smith had a sack. I also think you can include Jalen Hunt on here as well. He's putting together a really good sophomore campaign. Now, still to come here on Philadelphia Eagles Now. The Birds getting huge news in the NFC on top of the huge news that this offense finally had a great performance yesterday. Let's get to our sponsor. Today's Philadelphia Eagles Now brought to you by Prize Picks. It's the holiday season, the best time of year for sports, bowl games, basketball matchups, playoff pushes. It's all happening at once. And while you and I are out here making decisions every day, what gifts to buy, what to eat, which game to watch, there's one place where it feels good to be right. That place is Prize Picks. Get in on the action. Prize Picks now available in 45 states all across America, and it makes game days so much more fun. You want to pick more on Tyrese Maxey's points, 3-pointers, and assists? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. Prize Picks also puts their users first. All withdrawals, fast, safe, and secure. Prize Picks accepts most major payment methods, making deposits into your account quick and easy this sports season. Join the millions of users. Sign up today for America's #1 fantasy sports app. You can get your picks in less than 60 seconds. Turn your takes into cash with Prize Picks. 3-pick power play for some Monday Night Football. Steelers, Dolphins. Aaron Rodgers, more than 211.5 passing yards. Devon Achane, more than 79.5 rushing yards. DK Metcalf has to find the end zone. Pick more, pick less, pick Prize Picks. Download the Prize Picks app today. Use the code CLNS. Get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, let's get to this. Huge news for the Philadelphia Eagles in Week 15 on top of their 31-0 victory against the Las Vegas Raiders. What do I mean by that? Some things went the Eagles' way, and we have some really big major developments across the NFC, which transpired in Week 15 as well. How about what happened on Sunday Night Football? How about them Cowboys? Must-win game for Dallas on Sunday night, coming off a loss against the Detroit Lions on Thursday last week, and they lose to J.J. McCarthy and the Minnesota Vikings, a Vikings team that has already been eliminated from postseason contention. Vikings win last night, 34-26. J.J. McCarthy against that awful Cowboys secondary and defense. 15-24, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, and a pick. Aaron Jones, 12 carries for 34. T.J. Hockenson, 4 catches for 66 yards. McCarthy and Justin Jefferson still not on the right page. I did think that Jalen Naylor played a really good game. But really, the story in this game, J.J. McCarthy against that Cowboys defense. Also, the Vikings defense able to get some timely stops late. Dak Prescott, 23 of 38, 294 yards. The calendar turns to December. Now the Cowboys 0-2 to begin this month. Javonte Williams, 15 carries, 91 yards and a touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 6 catches for 111. George Pickens not really that involved. Really just the big story here, the Cowboys going down. And isn't this interesting? Jalen Hurts doesn't play well for a few weeks coming off the bye week. He is eviscerated by the national media. Even in the city of Philadelphia, some talk show hosts are saying Jalen Hurts should get benched. They asked Nick Sirianni, should Jalen Hurts get benched? And I understand the question because you have to ask it, and sometimes the backup quarterback is the most important person or the most popular person, I should say, in the city of Philadelphia, right? But the point here that I'm making, Jalen Hurts struggled since the bye week, and the city is up in flames. He gets shredded by people who cover the NFL from a national standpoint. Dak Prescott loses to Detroit, turns it over a couple of times in a must-win game, loses against J.J. McCarthy on Sunday night at home when your season is on the line. Where is the outrage over Dak losing a huge game for Dallas? None of it, of course. Now, you look at the NFC standings. Dallas losing drops the Cowboys to 6-7-1. The Eagles winning rises Philadelphia to a record of 9-5. 3 games ahead of Dallas in the win column, 2 games ahead in the loss column. And of course, the Cowboys have that tie, which throws a little bit of a wrench into the standings from a games back standpoint. But there is now a 1% chance for Dallas to make the playoffs following that loss to Minnesota. Here's what has to happen. It's very simple. The only way the Cowboys can make the playoffs is if the Eagles lose out in their final 3 games. Washington, Buffalo, Commanders again. The Cowboys then have to win out their final 3 games. And so, the Philadelphia Eagles magic number to win the NFC East is 1. And that is either an Eagles win or a Cowboys loss. And that is the magic number with 3 weeks left. So a combination of Eagles wins and Cowboys losses. The magic number is 1. So Philadelphia here, ladies and gentlemen, can win the NFC East on Saturday on the road against the Commanders. And if they do that, it'll be the first time in 2 decades that we see a repeat winner in the NFC East. There has not been a team to win back-to-back NFC East titles since the Eagles last did it in 2003, 2004. Philadelphia won the division last year in 2024, looking to do it here in 2025. The early line for this game, I imagine Marcus Mariota is going to start once again. Low-key, he's been better than Jaden Daniels this year, who's really struggled. And obviously, JD has dealt with some injuries. Philadelphia on the road at Northwest Stadium in Landover, Maryland. 6-point favorites. The over-under for this game at 44.5. And of course, in the Northeast, even though DC, Maryland, kind of below that Mason-Dixon line, we'll have to monitor the weather all throughout the week, which can play a big role this time of year. Of note, this game is on Saturday, okay? It's not on Sunday. It is on Saturday, and you saw that information, obviously, on that graphic. You look at the NFC playoff picture right now. A couple of changes following yesterday's action and going into Monday Night Football. This is firm going into Week 16 because Monday night is Steelers-Dolphins. The Rams beat the Lions. They stay in that 1 spot at 11-3. They have already clinched a playoff spot. The Eagles can be the next team to do that with a win on Saturday. As noted, the Chicago Bears beat the Cleveland Browns. The Green Bay Packers lost on the road against the Denver Broncos. More on that in a moment. The Packers go from the 7 seed to the 2 seed. The Packers go from the 2 seed to the 7 seed. Eagles firm there in that 3 hole. The Panthers lost yesterday to the Saints. The Buccaneers lost on Thursday to the Atlanta Falcons. That originally had bumped Tampa Bay out of the NFC South lead. But because the Panthers lost, Buccaneers back in that number 1 spot in the division, worst division in all of football. They do play 2 times in the final 3 weeks. The Seattle Seahawks held off Grandpa Phillip Rivers and the Indianapolis Colts to move to 11-3. The 49ers able to get past the Tennessee Titans. They are 10-4. And I would say that Dallas now out of it. Obviously, Carolina going to have to win the division. Detroit still alive there at 8-6, but a lot has to go right for the Lions from here on out the final 3 weeks. Speaking of the Green Bay Packers, another huge development here in the NFC. This is unfortunate. I love watching special players play football who are special guys, right? Micah Parsons is a special player. The Green Bay Packers made that trade for him, and they paid him because they know that he's one of the more dynamic defensive players and overall players in the National Football League. In trying to chase down Bo Nix, who put together the best game of his career yesterday. He was slinging it all across the yard, making plays in structure, out of structure. Micah Parsons had his knee bend in awkwardly. He is believed to have suffered a torn ACL. This is a massive loss for the Packers. Christian Watson, on a play where Patrick Surtain intercepted a pass and landed on Watson's chest, also got hurt. He had been coming on, giving the Packers offense an explosive player. Micah Parsons has been the MVP of that Green Bay defense. There's a reason they made a trade for him, because they thought he was the difference in making the Packers a true Super Bowl contender. And this year, great season. 12.5 sacks, 74 pressures, a PFF grade of 91.6, and a pass rush grade of 93. Legit has been one of the top overall defensive players in football this year, and it's like he makes an impact on any given play. Without him, massive loss for Green Bay the rest of the year, and a Packers team that has been hot and cold, Jekyll and Hyde, who you don't know what to expect any given week. Now they have two of these potentially big injuries looming. Does that knock them out of the contention to win the NFC? Does it open up a pathway for another team? It goes to show you that the NFC is wide open, which is why this Eagles offense had to perform like they did against the Raiders on Sunday, which is why I'm putting stock into that performance. Before we hop on out of here, don't forget to give me a follow on social media. You can find me on X, Instagram, and TikTok at Chase_Senior. I'm giving you so much Eagles content here, additional Eagles coverage over there. Just started a TikTok page, already closing in on 4,000 followers. Thanks to all of the real ones who have given me a follow there.